What's going on, TFA Fam? In today's episode, it is going to be a good old-fashioned TFA Throwdown. Kevin and I are going to be debating who we'd rather have this year for fantasy, Miles Sanders or Joe Mixon. Here we go. What is going on, everybody? Hope you are all doing well. Today, we're going to be talking about who we want to have in drafts. We're going to start off with two guys that we are both very high on for this year, and that's going to be Miles Sanders and Joe Mixon. So, Kev, if you want the floor first, go ahead and lay out your case for taking Miles over Mixon.
It's pretty easy for me, right? So, listen, I think Miles Sanders has RB1 upside, and I don't think that's hot at all. I think that he very well could be this year's Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, you got to come out of the gate hot. You got to let him know, all right? So, anyways, you look at him last year. We've talked about him a little bit over this offseason, but he last year received 48% of the opportunities in this backfield. He only had 11 carries, 3.9 targets per game. But over the second half of the season, really from week 9 on, when he really started to take over this backfield, he really became the man, right? And all offseason, there's been the narrative. It's the narrative that we've continued to hear this entire fucking offseason. Well, Doug Peterson doesn't really like to he likes to have a committee, and it's fucking ridiculous because they haven't fucking had anybody in that backfield. It's been Ryan fucking Matthews and Jay Ajayi, no knee Ajayi, and LeGarrette Blount, and just a bunch of bums in this backfield this entire time. So of course they're gonna have a fucking committee. They haven't had anybody. Doug Peterson over the offseason, came out and said, now again, we pick and choose what narrative we want to listen to and who we want to believe and when we want to believe it, as long as it only supports our narrative. But
you're damn right.
For Doug Peterson, he came out and said that they drafted him to be their workhorse, and that's what they are planning for him to do this year, is to be their workhorse, right? And so for me, it's just ridiculous. The man had 63 targets last year, right? I think it's just over 50 receptions. Yeah. And in his rookie fucking year, right? Now all of a sudden people are just expecting him to it's going to continue, right? And I think, quite honestly, I think he gets at least, I think 275 touches. I think is well within reach for him. I think 220, 230 carries, and that's why. But I probably at ceiling somewhere around there, because I do think that he will split some time with Boston Scott in this backfield. They brought in Michael Warren as a UDFA, but I'm not worried about that, dude. This is wheels up for Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders has 100 target upside in this offense, and I don't think that's hot at all. He had 63 last year, playing only 53% of the snaps. For me, that's why he's such an easy guy for me to take. I feel like he's so secure. He's in one of the best offenses in football. That this entire offense has gotten better. Yes, there's some concern with them losing Brandon Brooks to the torn Achilles. That is going to hurt a little bit, but it's not enough that's going to really scare me away from him. I think they brought Jason Peters back. They still have Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson back there. This offensive line is still one of the better in football. And like I said, with this offense, I think taking a step forward with Jalen Reagor, who's going to crush this year, and Deshaun Jackson really spreading this football, or spreading the field. I just think it's wheels up for Miles Sanders. Now, why not Joe Mixon? Why would I take him over Joe Mixon? Because right now I have Miles Sanders at RB6. I could probably have him at RB5. I really went back and forth between the two, him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and where I should have them. But right now I have him settled in at RB6. Now, why not Joe Mixon? My biggest concern with Joe Mixon isn't his ability. Is he going to get the pass-catching work, right? Even last year, he didn't. He only got 45 targets, which is awful. And I shouldn't say awful, but that's not what you're looking for from him. He did get 17.4 carries, which was 5th among running backs. He had almost 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. At the beginning of the year, the almost first half of the season with Joe Mixon, he was droppable. People were dropping Joe Mixon. He was so bad. And then the second half, he really turned it around. So I understand those things. But I just cannot bet that he is going to all of a sudden, out of nowhere, because we're not talking about 1 year. Like Josh Jacobs, you could say that about Josh Jacobs, right? But Josh Jacobs last year was his rookie year. We've seen multiple seasons now with Joe Mixon of not getting opportunities as a pass catcher, and that's what concerns me. If he was locked in a little bit more, I may have him a little bit higher, because I think that he has a even higher ceiling in terms of touch shield in this backfield, because they have proven that they have no problem giving him the opportunities. Like last year, he had 77.1% of the opportunities in this backfield, 62% of the snaps. But I just cannot bank that he is actually going to get that, because I think right now you're wishing and that's how it's going to work. And they've went out and they've added T. Higgins. AJ Green is back in this offense. Joe Burrow. I think there's a chance that they throw the ball a hell of a lot more. Their defense is still trash. And so all those things worry me about Joe Mixon's upside. Now, I also think that Miles Sanders' offense is just better. I think he's going to have more opportunities to find the goal line or goal line opportunities. So, like I said, I mean, last year, Miles Sanders was 13th in evaded tackles, 5th in juke rate, and 345 yards created was 15th, which is solid considering how little opportunities he got. So for me, that is why I think Miles Sanders has a 100 target upside. I think he easily surpasses 230 carries. On top of the fact that I think he has at least 100 target upside in him. That's why, and that is why I have him over Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I'll just start off on that last point you were talking about with the targets. It's absolutely a projection on my part. But I think we saw that in college, and that's why I believe that he can do it. They just haven't, kind of like what we saw with Fournette last season, just getting 100 targets out of the blue. I think they just have to commit to giving Mixon that receiving work. If you look at what he did at Oklahoma, he had an 84th percentile target share. I think it was like 11 point something. But I mean, as a running back, that's a huge target share for a college running back. I think something that a lot of people are forgetting about Mixon is just, again, harkening back to his some of his collegiate profile. I mean, he had a 92nd percentile speed score, 77th percentile spark score. If you look at what he's done since he's got into the NFL, I mean, he has back-to-back 1,100-yard rushing seasons, and that has been behind some of the worst offensive line play and some of the worst offensive situations in general, not even just the offensive line. I mean, I think Cincinnati was like 30th in scoring offenses last year. Mixon still finished as RB 16 from weeks 1 to 16. 2018, he was RB 11. And again, that's been in just putrid offensive situations. Typically, the guys that you see score highly and finish highly in fantasy are either going to be your McCaffreys, who are just going to get 110, 120 targets, or they're players in good offenses that are getting those goal line touches and getting the touchdowns. And Mixon hasn't had any of that. Cincinnati was 26th in adjusted line yards in 2019, and they were 22nd in 2018. Jonah Williams is returning a tackle. Billy Price is back healthy, who was their first-round pick in 2018, and he's going to be playing guard this year. If you look at what Mixon did on the field, he was first in evaded tackles, second in yards created. And again, I'm going to bludgeon this point to death in some of the worst offensive situations we've seen. You mentioned them bringing in T. Higgins. Joe Burrow was obviously their first pick. He's gonna help open things up. You said it too. Their defense is trash. There's still going to be a lot of passing volume to go around, and the only thing that's holding him back is whether or not Taylor is just going to put him in that role. I believe that he can do it. Do I see 100 target upside like you were talking about with Miles Sanders? No, I don't. But I think if you get him 70 targets, which I don't think is, that would be double from what he's been having his first 3 years. But I don't think that's crazy. We also have to remember his first 2 or 3 years, Hugh Jackson was the head coach. Now with Burrow coming in, like I said, the offensive line picking up from where it's been the past couple of years. All he has to do is get that passing game involvement. We see what he can do on the ground, like I said, with the evaded tackles, and the yards created. And if that offensive situation can just pick up slightly, I think Mixon is absolutely set up to smash. I have him as RB3. Again, that's projection on my part, but I believe that he can do it. This isn't a case of Fournette in college where we didn't see it. We saw Mixon be able to do it in college. I truly believe that he's one of the top 3-4 just in terms of talent at the running back position in the league. And I think this is going to be the year that we finally see that shine through. And that is why I am going to be taking Mixon over Sanders, because you kind of touched on it a little bit too, just in terms of his just raw touch upside. Last year he had over 300. Year before that, I think he had like 280. So I think that 270, I think was what you said, 275. I think that's Sanders' upper range of limits, and where I see Mixon being able to get over that 300 mark.
I mean, I think that for me, at least for Sanders, that's more of like a floor. I think for me, like I don't think that. I mean, I just think that it depends on how this thing progresses. The other thing that would worry me too about the Bengals offense is how good can we realistically expect Joe Burrow to be in a situation where he has not had any offseason work. He's just now coming into he's not going to get any preseason action. Literally week 1, he is going to step on that field, and that is the first time that he has seen NFL bullets. He's not going to get any opportunity in the preseason. So I think you can probably expect that he is going to look pretty bad, at least to start. This could not be the way this year is shaping up. This it feels like they should have maybe had if they would have kept Andy Dalton for one more year, let Andy Dalton start this year, let Joe Burrow learn a little bit, maybe insert him at least halfway through the year to get his feet wet. Because now, like, he is coming into a not so pleasant situation in terms of he's never seen an NFL defense. He's not even ever had to make those reads or anything else. So it's going to be interesting how this works, because I can see a situation where this offense is still really bad because of that. And I like the weapons, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, AJ Green. I guess we got to throw Auden Tate in there. Shout out CJ. But so those are my biggest concerns with Joe Mixon, to be honest with you. I like Joe Mixon. I love the talent. I think he has that ability in him. I have never understood why they have not used him more in the passing game, but they still have Gio. I think Gio also gets some opportunities here as the pass catching back as well. But overall, and this is a I guess a contract year, right, for Joe Mixon as well to make that money. But like I said, all things considered, I love Miles Sanders. I absolutely love Miles Sanders, and he's actually going later. I was looking at 4-for-4 ADP, and he's actually going 206, and Joe Mixon is going 110. I absolutely love in that spot. You can get Miles Sanders in that second round, wheels up all day. So you theoretically, depending on how your draft goes, because I feel like for me, it's Miles Sanders, Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake, and Josh Jacobs are all in that tier of running backs right there, that tier group of running backs of taking those guys where you could take them at that 11 or 12 turn, and take them both if you wanted to, or however you want to do it. If you took a wide receiver early, like Devonta Adams, then you want to come back and grab that running back. It's going to be Miles Sanders, possibly Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake, and Josh Jacobs, and these are the decisions you have to make. And if I could get like Devonta Adams and then follow that up with Miles Sanders, I am 6 to midnight so fucking quick. Because like I said, I absolutely love Miles Sanders. Like, he is my dude this year, ride or die. I don't care. I'm so tired of hearing the stupid narratives about him, about how, every free agent running back that there is, there's like, oh, just wait until the Doug Peterson brings in this other running back, this decrepit soul of a running back that we should never care about, like LaShawn McCoy. What are you going to do then, haters? What are you going to do then? And it's like, to me, it's more so about these people, and they're just showing their bias. Every time that I see these comments, it's like immediately, it's like, you're telling on yourself, bro. You're telling on yourself that is all you have is you're biased against him, and whatever happens, and you want to go down with that ship with your narrative. So to me, I think it's ridiculous. We should be flexible, and as fantasy analysts, you should, as we get new information, you should change your opinion. But if they sign Devonta Freeman, that's really, I guess, the only guy that's left. I don't care. Devonta Freeman's washed. I don't care. It's Miles Sanders season. Draft him everywhere, and let's win some championships. Let's go.
The last thing I want to touch on real quick, you were talking about Burrow kind of being thrown into it. Maybe this is the thing that kicks off Mixon being involved in the passing game more, because you're right. Like, he is just going to be stepping right onto the NFL field, not seeing those, like you said, those live bullets flying around. So for what we would think, you would want to set up those easier passes. We saw what Burrow did with Clyde Edwards-Helaire at LSU. You can't flip that over because he's not bringing Joe Brady with him. But I still think that, if you're a smart head coach, smart offensive coordinator, you look at that, see what he was comfortable with, and maybe this will be the thing that kind of gets him involved and gets him kicked off, is setting up those easy dump offs and screens to Joe Mixon. So, anything else you want to throw in here, Kev?
No, I think that's it. Let's in the comments below, let us know who you're going with. It's definitely Miles Sanders. I know I already won, but You know, we gotta put it out there for everybody. But who would you rather have in your upcoming draft, whether it's PPR, half point PPR? Which one are you leaning towards? Is it Miles Sanders? Is it Joe Mixon? If not, you know, in that group of 4 that I kind of talked about, is there another one you'd rather have? Is it Kenyon Drake or Josh Jacobs? You can check out, I actually just did a player profile on Josh Jacobs. That's my dude. So, but in this situation, I did say that I would definitely take Miles Sanders over him, and I definitely still would. Miles Sanders, RB6. I think he could go as high as RB5 for me, and I think he has Christian McCaffrey level upside. That's all I got to say. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys again next week.